Yo, it's Two Side Anime here, and I just got my Invisalign braces, so I might sound a little crazy. This very weird pressure in my mouth. Pause. But we're not here to talk about my braces and whatever I got going on. We're here to talk about all the speculation I've been seeing about Jura's identity. Community has been going crazy with trying to pinpoint who Jura really is. Speculation all started after chapter 4 dropped and we were introduced to the God Tree clones. Each of the God Tree clones were a clone of the person that the Clawgron consumed, using their chakra to transform themselves into look-alike clones of the victim. The first God Tree clone we were introduced to was the Bug God Tree clone, and we saw Bug trapped in the Clawgron tree. The next God Tree clone was Masari, which is just a clone of Mawegi. She was attacked by a Clawgron while she was protecting the villagers during Code's evasion. And finally, we have Hidari, which is Sasuke's clone, and we already know how my boy went out. Sasuke went out taking one of Code's eye. You know, the above Jigen level threat. Code is such a joke as a character, bro. I'm not gonna lie. With us knowing the identities of the other 3 Clawgron clones, it kinda left Jura's identity up in the air because nobody could figure out who he really was until we were taken to chapter 5 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, when each of the Clawgrons named their targets that they want to consume, and each of these targets had a level of emotional connection to the original characters before they became the Clawgri clones. For example, Hidari said his target was Sarada. Sarada is Sasuke's daughter, so of course he would want to consume her. Masari says she wants to consume Konohamaru, which is her childhood best friend. Bug wanted to consume Ida because we know Bug was affected by Ida's charm ability, so Bug thinks he's in love with Ida. Finally, Jura made his announcement of the person he wanted to consume, which shocked the entire fandom. Jura announced that he wanted to consume Naruto Uzumaki. This started the mystery of Jura's identity. Fandom started to speculate that Jura was Gaara, Kawaki, some other random ninja that I highly doubt have anything to do with the story, and the most obvious speculation that Jura was Jigen/Ishiki. But after chapter 8, the fandom seems to be more confused about the identity of Jura, even though it's obvious who Jura really is. Like I said in my Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 8 review video, Jura is Ishiki/Jigen. But before I explain why it's obvious that Jura is Ishiki/Jigen, and no, it's not going to be the obvious like Jura's ability to fly and how he looks identical to Ishiki and Jigen, it's actually something very simple. Chapter 8 has convinced a lot of people that Jura is the will of the Ten Tails, using the information that we received in chapter 8 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. In chapter 8, page 38, after sensing Naruto Uzumaki nearby, Jura states he's a Jinchuriki who bears a Biju. As an incarnation of a fellow Biju, I can sense the Biju's chakra dwelling inside him. Basically, Jura is saying that Naruto contains Biju energy just like him, so he can sense it, just like Momoshiki, Kenshiki, and Urashiki did when they came to Earth looking for Kaguya, which is proof to say Jura is actually the Ten Tails. But there's more. He also has the Sage of Six Paths symbol on the back of his jacket, just like Obito had when he absorbed the Ten Tails and became the Jinchuriki, and Naruto as well after he was brought back to life by Hagoromo. And to add on top of that, on Jura's stomach, we see a similar symbol to the symbol where all the tail beasts meet up within Naruto Uzumaki. So one will believe that they have a strong argument to say Jura is actually the embodiment of the Ten Tails will, and Jura isn't Ishiki. And I'm here to say that's flat out wrong. You know the motto by now, just let me cook, because I'm about to explain why Jura is Ishiki and it's just not the will of the Ten Tails. My first issue with this theory is based off of what Amado said in chapter 45, page 25. Amado states it's a different specimen than the one you battled. Unfortunately, I don't know where this one came from, but the Otsutsuki always utilize a Ten Tails when they assault a planet, for it's the Ten Tails that becomes the divine tree. Ten Tails is the seedling. This in itself can be a major plot hole in the series, but I'ma let them cook for the next couple of chapters to see if they can go over this information. Amado explained that the Ten Tails that we saw in the 4th Great Ninja War, the one that Kaguya ate her chakra fruit from, is different than the one that Jigen possessed. So how would this Ten Tails be able to sense the Biju energy within Naruto if they're different species. The next argument that I saw people use to say that Jiraiya isn't Ishiki / Jigen was that his chakra should have been registered by the Yamanaka clan, the barrier team. You can easily debunk this claim because nowhere in the series have we ever seen anybody outside of the Leaf Village get registered by the barrier team. It's only for the shinobi of the Leaf Village. That's how they're able to detect if another chakra signature enters the village that isn't registered with their village. So there wouldn't be a need to register Ishiki / Jigen's chakra signature. If this is your reason to rule out Ishiki or Jigen, then you're going to have to keep the same energy for the idea that Jiraiya is just the will of the Ten Tails. In chapter 35 of Boruto Next Generation, starting on page 36, ending on page 39, we see Jigen teleport into the area where the Ten Tails was at. He states that the Ten Tails cannot eat him yet, and he needs to take more again. At this moment, we see Jigen absorb chakra from the juvenile Ten Tails. Sasuke witnessed this transformation, saw for the first time that Jigen may be Ishiki Otsutsuki. In the next chapter, Jigen enters the village, and Ino drops and holds her stomach and says, "What sinister chakra is this?" So if we use the same logic that Jiraiya isn't Ishiki / Jigen because his chakra signature would have been registered by the barrier team, then this will apply to the juvenile Ten Tails, because before Jigen entered the village, he absorbed the chakra from the juvenile Ten Tails to amp himself up against Naruto and Sasuke. So that argument is thrown out the window. Now, if we want to talk about the symbols that are all over Jiraiya's body, because my boy is tatted, let's talk about the symbol on Jiraiya's back. You remember I said this was the exact same symbol that Obito and Naruto had in the 4th Great Ninja War. We see the exact same symbol on Jigen's chair in chapter 45, page 36. It has some extra tomos added to it, but still the same design. And for my last and final part in regards of Jiraiya being a clone of Jigen / Ishiki, we need to take a trip down memory lane and understand the essence of karma. If you guys remember, the karma seal is nothing but compressed data of the Otsutsuki soul that is placed on a vessel, and over time the data will decompress into the vessel, overriding the vessel's soul, and the Otsutsuki will be reborn again. This is the process that the Otsutsuki clan used to invade and absorb life on other planets. They will bring the Ten Tails Juvie, which is nothing but the seed, feed the lower ranking Otsutsuki to the Ten Tails. That Ten Tails will then become the divine tree and start absorbing life from the planet. But before this process starts, the lower ranking Otsutsuki will find themselves a vessel so they can be reborn, and they repeat the process over and over again. So in order for the Ten Tails to transform or become anything outside of the Ten Tails Juvie, it needs to consume a Otsutsuki, or at least get some Otsutsuki DNA. This is how Jiraiya got his DNA from Ishiki Otsutsuki. We all know at the end of Boruto Next Generations, Code used his straps infused with his blood and his white karma seal to create the Kagurime army, which ultimately turned into the God Tree clones. In chapter 6, on page 23, Boruto states he may have not been an Otsutsuki, but he got a karma that came from Ishiki, which is a lump of Otsutsuki essence, so having some effect wouldn't be a surprise. This means the mere essence of Code's white karma seal and the DNA that it held of Ishiki Otsutsuki got transferred into the Ten Tails, triggering its awakening. And I know somebody's gonna say, but Code had a dud karma seal, which was stated by Code himself, so his body shouldn't be altered by the white karma seal. And that's completely wrong, because you have to revisit Boruto Next Generations chapter 27. In that chapter, we see the process of Jigen bestowing his karma on his selected vessels, which he found by matching their blood types to his. In this process, the candidates are placed in Capri Sun looking bags, and Jigen dumps his karma seal into a water jar that sends black liquid into the bags and forces karma on the bodies of the children. The ones that survive get bestowed with karma, but this process is Jigen actually altering the DNA of the candidate. That's how Kawaki was able to get the karma seal. His whole body was altered, and from that point on, Amado constructed Kawaki's cyborg body with withstand the powers of karma. The same thing with Code. Even though Code was giving a dud karma, a white karma seal, his body was still altered by the DNA of a Otsutsuki. So when he used his blood and his ability to create the Claw Grind army, he was mixing the blood of a Otsutsuki and the essence of his white karma, triggering a awakening into the God Tree clone. I do believe Jura absorbed the Ten Tails. This Ten Tails that Jura absorbed was probably way weaker because of all the Claw Grinds that Code created. And that's why Jura wants to consume Naruto to restore the power of the Ten Tails. Jura is Ishiki. He's just the Jinchuriki of the weakened Ten Tails that Code was extracting the army from. All of this was made possible because of Ishiki. It's literally a parallel of what we saw Jigen / Ishiki do right before chapter 35 when he absorbed the chakra from the Ten Tails. Jura, being the essence, being the clone of Ishiki, absorbed the Ten Tail. But that's it for my theory. I'm basically saying that Jura is still Jigen / Ishiki, and everything that we are witnessing is only possible because of Ishiki. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'm out.